Welcome on to the ManCave. I'm Big Dave, your host for the evening. How are you guys? Got a great show lined up for y'all today. Football is back. First of all, let me go over here to my main man, Wayne. What it do, Wayne?
What up, though? It's the Motor City Fat Man, the man you love to hate, but your daughter want to date. Detroit, Dallas. What's up?
What happened to your facial hair, Slim?
It's called growing up. You know, you can't be walking around looking like Wolf Guy Jack forever. You gotta get your grown and ugly on. Because everybody can't be grown and sexy.
Hey, man, when I first saw that, boy, I almost died. Boy, that was so funny, man.
For sure.
Well, anyway, we got a great guest today that we wanted to bring to y'all, man. I mean, this dude has served in the military. He's came up through some tough times. Now he's a motivational speaker, mentor, brand new father, by the way. We're going to get into that, of course. You know what I'm saying? Introducing Mr. Derrich Phillips.
What's up?
I said that right?
Derrich Phillips, you got it right.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Here.
Glad to have you here, man. I wanted to get you in here, man. I was, looking at you, been following you for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Thought you were the type of person that was ManCave worthy. We wanted to bring in here, talk about your book and some of the things you've been doing. You know what I'm saying? So how about your book, man? What is it called?
It's called Poverty Powerball. Turn adversity into your winning ticket.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all can win that Powerball, that jackpot. So.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right. It's a nice book, man. Nice. How did you go about getting this thing published and writing it? What made you do it?
So the inspiration behind it, I grew up in Gary, Indiana in the 90s. So that was known as murder capital of the world in the 90s. So it was hood. It was like growing up in a war zone. But I made it out. I joined the Army right out of high school. By 23, I was making six figures. Just accomplished a lot that wasn't expected for somebody coming out of Gary. And when I would meet people and tell them, like, hey, where you from? I'm from Gary. Like, look back, like, no, you don't fit that mold. Like, how did you get to this point? And as I thought about it more, like, everything I learned growing up, going through those hardships, overcoming that adversity, that is what prepared me to thrive later as an adult. And then I started doing more research, looking at, like, all of the people who, if you look at, like, people like Jay-Z and Oprah, all those people, they grew up in poverty. They started with nothing, but that lit that fire in them. That gave them that desire, like, I'm hungry.
Right.
So, and I felt I wanted to get that message to those kids growing up in that environment now, to let them know that, hey, what you're going through is making you tough, is making you resilient. That's a competitive advantage.
Right, yeah. I think that's what football coaches used to say when they talked about that. They say, you always look for the kids that don't have no air conditioning at home.
I like
they're going to bring that fire to the field.
Take it to you.
Right. So, I mean, also growing up in Gary, Indiana, you get a little older and you did go into the military. Thank you for your service, first of all. But what branch was you in?
I served in the Army. 4 years.
All right, 4 years. Did you a couple tours out there and everything? So what did that experience bring actually? See, because one thing I know about the armed forces, because I went in the Navy, I was in there for a little bit, is like they actually do teach you about finances and things like that. Was that something that got you put into the, pointed in the right direction to be here today?
Yeah, certainly. Definitely the military opened up a lot of doors for me. So my last year in the Army, I deployed to Iraq. And at the time, I'm thinking like, that's the last place I want to go. I'm about to get out of the Army to go to my civilian life. And they got me, like, you're going to Iraq. And it ended up being a blessing in disguise, though, because it opened up a lot of opportunities for me. I met some people over there who were doing what they call defense contracting.
Right.
And defense contractors over there making bank.
Right.
Major bank. And pretty much as a soldier, I was working with defense contractors doing the exact same job, but I'm making $18,000 a year. They making $150 doing the exact same job.
But you can't bypass that experience.
Yeah, exactly. I needed that military experience to get to that point. I couldn't have went straight from high school to contracting. So that was like a rites of passage. And it opened up so many doors. And by the time I got back out of the Army, I had those connections now, and I had the experience and the security clearance and all those things I needed to take that next step. So it definitely put me in a great position.
No, I was just about to ask, kind of a pseudo question. Definitely coming from that rough environment there in Gary itself. Was there a particular mentor that pushed you in a certain direction, or were there particular, men along the journey that, that bonded with you and got you to the point where you're like, you know what, just in honor of these men, I need to make sure I move correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. In that type of environment, especially for a male, it's so critical to have a positive influence, especially a male role model. And my first one was my Uncle Tommy, my mother's older brother. When I was 11 years old, he became my legal guardian. And that was a game changer for me because he was that positive male influence. He had stability and he taught me good values. So that he set that foundation for me. I can honestly say if it wasn't for him, I would be dead or in prison in that coming out of that environment. And then after that, I had my track coach, my high school track coach. He was a military man. He taught a lot about discipline and respect and how you carry yourself.
Right.
So that was really critical as well. They just had like family, friends, things like that. And I always tell kids in that environment, you have a lot of negative influence. You got the gangs and all that other stuff, but there's always positive influences around. And if you're trying to help yourself, they see you trying to do better. Those people they're gonna want to help you out. So whether it's teachers, coaches, family, friends, or someone, you can seek them people out even in the worst type of environments.
Okay. Well, I want to get into this book a little bit, man.
All right, let's do it. Let's dig in.
You dedicate this to your grandmother?
Yes.
All right, and I just want to read off a couple of the chapters, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So
Okay, and it's Mamie R. Hess, is your grandmother.
Mamie Ruth Hess.
Okay, that's what's up. I want to name off a couple of the chapters just so we can talk about them in depth a little bit. But life is not fair. It's chapter 1. I think that was something we all learned as brown colored men, that sometimes that's the case. Forgiveness, patience, and compassion, power of faith, mental wellness, and paying it forward. There's also a chapter 7, 8, 9, and 10, but you guys need to go out and get the book. By the way, this book is...
It's available on Amazon.
For
$12.
$12, okay, because I'm seeing the back of it, so I wanted to...
$12, Amazon.
That's a special ManCave discount.
Right, ManCave discount.
You know,
it retails $14.95, but for the ManCave, $12 on
there
Amazon.
you go. Go ahead and throw our promo code up there, and you good. So, okay, let's talk about this. Life is not fair. Now, first of all, who needs to buy Poverty Powerball? Who is this book for?
This book is for someone who they're going through a lot of hardships in their life, or they've already overcome hardships, and they just don't realize how strong they are as a result. Or they feel defeated in life, like I can't see past my current circumstances. So this book is going to give them what I identified 10 lessons, life lessons, aka winning tickets, where they'll be able to identify with, like, hey, okay, I did learn that lesson as a result of that hardship, and this is how I can use it to propel me or help me overcome the next hardship that I'm facing.
Right. So when you go and you're talking to a Fortune 500 company, and you're up there by yourself on stage, and you're giving a presentation trying to motivate these people who are making, abnormal amounts of money at sometimes, how do you find the gumption to just keep throwing that out there to them? Like, because you say this is for someone who may be going through adversity, but you also change that around and flip that, and you're able to speak to people who are successful and good. How do you make that transition?
So as a professional speaker, you're going to first do your research about that organization. You want to know, okay, what are their pain points? What are they struggling with? Who are the people who's going to be your target? Who are the audience you're going to be talking to? So before I go in there, I know what they're struggling with. I know their demographic. So I'm going to tailor my message to their pain points. It's not going to be a generic type of message. They're going to feel like I'm talking to them one-on-one, and I'm part of their culture just because I've done so much research. And the way I wrote this book is, so poverty, that was my Powerball. That is what prepared me to thrive in life. But you can substitute that for whatever hardship you've overcame that made you stronger, whether it's you beat cancer, whether you survived a divorce, bankruptcy, whatever, that's your Powerball. So based on that organization I'm talking to, I'm going to kind of substitute the poverty part. I may not talk much more about poverty, but I'm going to really tailor it towards, okay, this is what you all already overcame as an organization.
Right.
And this is the skills you learned from it. This is how you are more, this giving you an advantage over your competitors. Now this is how you want to maximize that advantage.
You just hit the Powerball.
Exactly. You don't even realize it. You had that winning ticket. You don't even realize it.
No, but I mean, you actually just did.
Right.
You got a beautiful, bubbly, bouncing baby girl, huh?
Oh, man, I can't get no better than that. That's the jackpot there.
What's her name, man?
Legacy Lee Phillips.
Legacy?
Legacy.
Dope, dude. Dope. I like that name. So, did you have to fight to get that name?
Actually, my wife picked that name.
She picked it out. Okay.
See, I was sold on it as soon as she told me.
It's a dope name.
Hey, but my middle name Lee, so she my middle name and just spelled it differently.
Well, see, my son's name is Leader, and I had to fight for that.
Oh, that's important. That's his first name, Leader?
Yeah, his name is Leader. Yeah.
I've never met a leader. I love that.
It's dope. It really is.
Plus, they're both great resume names. You know how a lot of companies will look at your name and they try to dictate, who they're coming.
Can't tell.
Yeah, they can't tell by the name. So, Legacy, Leader, things like that. Those are great resume names.
Absolutely.
So it's something to help in the future as well.
So, this your first child?
First child.
Okay, cool.
Started off with a girl.
Right. Well, you know what they say about guys who have girls first, just like me.
Yeah.
You know what they say about them?
Not what they say.
They were dogs.
That could be kind of accurate.
Don't worry. I had a girl first too, so it's to teach you a lesson.
They just melt your heart.
Yes,
seeing her smile
indeed,
it's priceless.
I've been where you're going. It's gonna be a beautiful ride. Congratulations to you, definitely. You know what I'm saying? And you gonna have any more?
Yeah, we plan on having a boy.
Yeah. So get it done.
Yeah.
Get it
Waste
done.
no time.
That's what we did. We had it back to back so they could go together.
Right.
They could both ride off into the sunshine.
Together,
one after another. Oh, college? Oh, you too? Oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
Then you straight. That's what's up, man.
Unless that
discount
UBI happens,
tuition.
then all of a sudden you ain't gonna want to get them out the house and that UBI kick in, huh?
UBI be nice. Who you rolling with presidential wise?
Presidential, as far as the upcoming election?
Yeah.
I honestly haven't been following it as much.
I'm trying to push Andrew Yang. No one wants to feel me, but I like Andrew Yang. I'm a Yang fan.
Only one I really know, I know Biden, but I haven't been following enough to really say, okay, who I'm committed to at this point. But
it seems like the Democrats do a lot of that. They freaking oversaturate the party every year to where they got all of these candidates and the Republicans have one candidate. That's it.
Yeah. So they can put all their resources
They put
behind that
one candidate.
Yeah,
and then we all sitting over here fighting over 5 and 6 different people who want to, everybody going a different way. That's why we lost the last election. But anyway.
That wasn't the reason, but just continue.
Andrew Yang, president.
So just a quick question here. So Poverty Powerball itself.
Andrew Yang is Poverty Powerball.
That's your endorsement. It's official. You heard it here.
So essentially, when you came with the title itself, like I understand you're like, hey, this is a book for people who have gone through the negative aspects of life itself. And when I heard the title, it kind of reminded me of Charlemagne's book, Black Privilege, where everyone says, being darker skinned is a disadvantage to certain things in life. Where he took the positive spin on it. Where look at your darker skin, your things of that magnitude. So did you want it to be more of a play on words type of thing, or was it more of I'm trying to specifically hit this target to reach?
It was definitely a play on words. As far as, and then also when I was thinking about the title, originally the title came to mind was the competitive advantage of the disadvantage. It's kind of a tongue twist or whatever, but that was the whole concept of wanting to see if you feel like you came from nothing, that's an advantage in the reality. That is a competitive advantage. Like you say, and not having no AC, that's gonna make you tough. But also, it was kind of like around the time was a big Powerball jackpot going on, and I realized like most people that play the lottery are poor, and it's because they're trying to escape poverty. They're looking at external sources like, okay, if I win this Powerball, winning lottery ticket, I can get out the hood. But in reality, they have that winning ticket inside of them. If they didn't survive all those different hardships that poverty is going to throw at you, that's your winning ticket. You just got to learn how to transition that from your current circumstances into something you can thrive in.
Right.
And that's something, the first quote I listed in the book is from Jay-Z. They say, since I made it here, I can make it anywhere. And he's talking about growing up from Marcy Projects, no father. And by the age of 19, he realized like, hey, I have some valuable skill sets that I done learned in the hood. And if I can survive Marcy Projects, the boardroom don't stand a chance. The entertainment industry don't stand a chance. I'm gonna dominate. So that's like playing basketball barefooted. Once you get some shoes on, gym shoes and Jordans, you got an advantage.
No, you good. But we're gonna run through this. So I'm gonna give you your chapter.
All right.
You give me the synopsis.
Okay.
You ready? Life is not fair.
Okay, so when life is not fair, that's a lesson I learned very early on, like 6 years old, where I had a close childhood friend. Her mother and her were killed. Young, she was 4 years old at the time, killed. So that, and I was 6 at the time. That gave me a harsh reality. Like, of course, that little girl did nothing to no one,
Right.
but she's wrong place at the wrong time. Life isn't fair. It don't
fair.
matter. I don't care who you are. No matter how much money you got, life isn't fair. Of course, it can give you different advantages if you do got money, but everybody's going to experience unfairness in life.
Right. Okay. And chapter 2 is forgiveness. So,
yeah,
of course, when I think about forgiveness, it's always about what somebody did wrong to you. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes I be feeling like we need to forgive people just for our own sake. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need to tell somebody, hey man, I forgive you not for them, but for you.
That's who it's really for. And I quote Dr. Maya Angelou on that chapter, and she says, the greatest gift you can give yourself is to forgive everyone. Forgiveness, forgive everybody, because that's unleashing all that resentment, that negativity, those toxic emotions, that's taking a toll on you, whether you realize it or not. So when you forgive someone genuinely, it don't mean necessarily forgetting what happened or what they did. You just forgive. You're not holding that grudge anymore. And this chapter, I talk about my father not being in my life, and how all those years I carried that resentment and just that pain. I thought I couldn't even call him my father up until a year ago. I would say my sperm donor.
Right.
And that was just so much anger I was carrying.
We were just having this conversation
last night.
So much anger. And what dawned on me with that was I came across a quote from Nelson Mandela where he talked about, like, when you have hatred towards someone and you don't forgive them, you're drinking poison.
Yeah.
And you're expecting the other person to be hurt.
You're giving them free rent in your brain.
And I realized, like, hold on, I'm drinking the poison. Yeah. My dad ain't hurt. He don't know I'm hurting like this. Yeah. And I realized I need to let that go. So actually, a couple months ago, I actually called him. I hadn't spoken to him in 20 plus years.
That's important.
And now I've opened that door for him to be, he wasn't a father, but he could be a grandfather now.
Yeah.
So it's like a huge weight off my chest.
That's important. I went through the same thing. I didn't know my dad. And then he came around when I turned around 18 or so. But, one thing I never did was harbor any kind of hate toward him. It was just cool. Like, okay, cool to be around. And I'm glad I got to know him, because when he passed on, like, there's such a finality to death, you know what I'm saying? And man, you can't begin to imagine how much you can learn about yourself by looking at the person that created you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm glad you got that. Okay, we're gonna do chapter 3,
right.
And then I'm gonna get into another question.
Okay.
And then we're gonna come back and I'm gonna do a couple more. And we're gonna do that the whole chapter. So chapter 3, patience and compassion. Where did you get this from? Where are you going right there?
So patience and compassion. I kind of talked about how people deal with their anger, and as far as not channeling your anger in a violent way, more non-violent. So if you're acting out in anger from someone, then it means you're not being patient and compassion. And I kind of talked about also with parenting. Like my mom, she suffered from a mental illness, but she was abusive, and she didn't have that patience and compassion.
Right.
And her response to discipline was beating us. But once I'd say my Uncle Thomas became my legal guardian when I was 11, he showed me a different parenting style where his was more military style. He didn't hit you with nothing. He's gonna work you till you're gonna regret whatever you did in terms of
that's
you're gonna be scrubbing toilets with a toothbrush or whatever.
That's a good segue because I want to talk about Uncle Tommy. So Uncle Tommy was a military man.
No, well, actually, but when I moved to my Uncle Tommy, at the time he was 52 years old. Both his sons were already grown and serving in the military, Navy and the Marines. But my Uncle Tommy never served in the military.
Right.
He always say
he was just
he served in the streets of Gary.
He was just a structured and disciplined dude.
Yeah.
So when because obviously you said you came out and you was already, making a little 6-figure job and like that discipline. Like from doing this show, one of the things I kind of realized doing this show is that usually when you're talking to successful people, like this discipline word comes up
vital. Yeah.
All the time. You know what I'm saying? So with him being the kind of man he was, and then you transitioning and going into the Army, you know what I'm saying? Do you think that is what actually set the foundation for, how you begin to, build the stepping? I mean, let's be honest. You're a successful man. You're a mentor which, you know, what is this on your shirt?
Mentor Select. So that's my podcast, also my company.
Right.
Focusing on mentorship.
You do a podcast as well. Go ahead and plug that.
So yeah, my podcast, Mentor Select, is available on iTunes, Google Play. I release it every Wednesday. You can check it out at mentorselect.com. Also my website, derrichphillips.com.
Right. Okay.
And the whole concept behind the Mentor Select podcast is kind of what we're doing now, providing that virtual mentorship. So say somebody don't got a positive male role model in their life, or any role model, just because them watching in this show, this podcast, they can plant a seed for them. That can actually something resonate where could possibly change the trajectory of their life.
Right.
So mentorship is very important and critical to me.
So
I'm passionate about it.
You go into of course, your discipline, your structure. You get this from Uncle Tommy. You go into the Army, correct? I want to make sure I get that right.
Army strong.
Right. And then you get into cyber warfare. So, okay. So now we're into tech.
Tech.
Right?
Right.
So what about learn the code? What do you think about people who are up in age like myself or something like that, learning to code? Is this something that is laughable or?
No, it's just never too late in my mind. And coding is just going to be a skill set, something you learn. And at 40, 50, 60, if you learn it, you're willing to dedicate the time it's going to take to learn, ain't no cutoff.
What about the kind of, I see cyber warfare specialists. So what does that entail?
So in the civilian world, it's going to be more so cybersecurity, information security.
Right.
Cyber warfare can be more specific to the military, but the same concept. You're protecting information systems and data. But for me in high school, I took a lot of computer classes. I was kind of naturally good at it, and it interests me. So the biggest reason I chose that field, though, because cybersecurity wasn't that big. I graduated in 2002. It wasn't that prevalent like it is now.
Right.
But the biggest reason I chose it is that MOS, that job required a top secret security clearance. And at the time I had in my mind, long term, I wanted to be an FBI agent, then a lawyer. So I figured, okay, trying to be strategic, right? This top security clearance gonna come in handy.
Right.
So that was kind of how I got into it.
Okay, perfect. So you'll be able to stop the Russians from using our faces, because of the face app and everything.
I'm gonna try. It's like it's constant cat and mouse, whack-a-mole, but yeah, it's
right. Okay.
What
I mean, I was just looking at it because I know you did a couple. What you did? 3 combat tours in Iraq, 2 combat tours in Afghanistan. What was that? What was that like, man? I mean, were you actually down there, hard nose on the? You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I ain't gonna lie to you. I wasn't doing those
Just
special
asking.
forces type stuff. So I basically working on computers. I was on the military base, but the military base gets attacked more than rounds. But I'm not out there kicking in doors and chasing terrorists. No, but it's still dangerous.
No, this is important. This is important.
Yeah.
It's important. It's important to kids like mine who are 14 and 15 who feel like if I go into the military, I'm going to be diving in foxholes and rolling around and shooting people, because it's not that kind of a military. And like I had this argument with my son a couple years ago when I was telling him, dude, why not go into the military? And he's like, I ain't going to fight for nobody. And I'm like, dude, it's not even that type of party. Like, you know,
choose that if you want to be special forces, Navy SEAL, or whatever. But if you choose a regular job, computers, they got every. Because the thing I tell about people in the military, they support themselves. So if you go on a military base, they have everything from doctors, dentists, everything that you need in the city. They have that. They have those as jobs. So if you get deployed and you're a cook, guess what? And you're in Iraq, you're gonna be cooking.
Right.
You're not chasing down Osama bin Laden.
Right.
So that's the thing. I think a misconception.
Yeah, but that's important, and we put that out there. So
and also you have a lot of people who are still caught up in that weapons of mass destruction thing, and things of that magnitude. And it's like the military itself, for a lot of our men, definitely if you look back generations upon generations, the VA loans help plenty of our men buy houses, get education,
my house in VA.
Things of that magnitude. So it's like this negative stigma that our community tends to have toward the military is actually very foolish.
Right, it's ignorance.
It is.
They just don't know. And the reason I knew more about it just because my Uncle Tommy, his sons were in the military, so I would see them coming home and they would tell me their stories, and I'm saying that they're traveling the world and just living a good life. Like, I want that too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know.
Like great example, like yesterday while we were sitting by the pool, like I said, Dave's from the military. A lot of us I mean, a lot of our guys within, the fellas are former military. Unfortunately, I'm from a Navy family, but I'm not, former military myself, and they're naming the countries that they, served in. They had the chance to visit, and those are, lifetime opportunities that, by just taking this road, you get exposed to versus not taking said road.
Right. And it's ironic too, because when like I said, I graduated high school in 2002, and part of what motivated me to go to the military on 9/11, I remember watching the planes flying to that second tower, and I was just so inspired by the courage of the first responders running towards danger while everybody else running away. Like, wow, that's something bigger than themselves. But it certainly wasn't a popular time to join the military during that time. We're at war. So my family, friends, they was not supportive about it. And I remember one of my friends, he was actually a gangbanger. And it was like a couple weeks before we graduated high school, he's like, man, why you going to the Army? You're going to get shot or whatever.
Yeah, right.
That's going to happen if I stay here. So, and what's so ironic about that, less than a month later, he was paralyzed because he got shot.
Right.
In the same city.
That's
But he telling me I should be worried about getting shot. So it's just kind of like just that ignorance or just that negative stigma.
And I'll say that sometimes and like people kind of use the word ignorance or ignorant itself. Like the true definition of it is lack.
Yeah, you don't know. I'm not saying stupid. Yeah, ignorant and stupid is not the same thing. Ignorant, you just don't know.
And that's what a lot of people
I don't
do.
know.
They use
I'm ignorant to being a
ignorant
pilot.
as the same word when they're not.
That's not the same.
Word.
Ignorant, you just don't know, and we don't know everything.
And that's kind of one of the things with your book itself. It's like a lot of things that a lot of our people go through is due to lack of knowledge. It's not that they're stupid; they just have not had access.
Like they haven't been exposed to it.
They haven't been exposed to it.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why I asked you my initial question about the whole play on word things.
Right, big time. Yep.
I'm just sitting there looking through the book, man. I like this, man. Got some photos in there for people who can't read. You know what I'm saying? At least they know some of it's not.
I'm about to record an audio book next week, so I had an audio book ready.
Came with a nice little bookmark. My man Sharp on the suit. Look at that, man.
Got to be official.
That's pimping right there. I like that, man. I like that suit too. You got to borrow that, John. We about the same size, so
I got you.
It kind of going back to the forgiveness thing itself. Like you have some people in life that kind of use the negativity of life to motivate them, and that's kind of another thing.
What you mean by that, though, Wayne?
Like I use myself as an analogy.
Oh, yeah.
Go
ahead.
Like great example. I used to have people in my neighborhood. Like, and the funniest thing is me and my best friend, we had this analogy we used to use because I got into an argument one time with one of my uncles, and he told me, "You ain't gonna be shit," or you ain't shit. So it's like every time he and I did something, like whether he was on the honor roll or I did something, do track or football, we always used to tell each other, "You still ain't shit." And it was more as a reminder that this is great, but there's more to do.
Right.
So it's like you have
fuel
some people.
each other.
Yeah. So it's like some people kind of use negativity as a way to motivate themselves, and at times people kind of try to shut that down and say, "Oh, well, you shouldn't use it," but you have to remember where you're coming from. That negativity.
I like positivity. So I'm a positive type person. I want to speak positivity into the atmosphere. I want it spoken back to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I know we tell you stuff like that all the time because you do stuff like that where you talk negative. We be like, man, stop doing that.
But the thing is, like, when I do it, I'm doing it as a way of clowning the others around me.
Right.
Like, it's my own personal joke. It's like, yeah, I'm short, yeah, I'm fat. But like I said, every time you see me, I got a new chick with me. So guess what? All that 6 foot and 6 figure stuff.
Overrated, huh?
Hey, clearly I'm still out here winning.
Right.
You winning?
Clearly I am. Like I said.
We was at the little spot this weekend. Anyway, I'm not gonna get it.
I'm not gonna digress.
Yeah, we're not gonna get it unplugged because we can't blow hoopah or nothing. Nice spot though.
It was a nice spot. It was a beautiful spot. What was that spot called?
No, we ain't gonna. If they go when they advertise, that's when we'll promote them. Go ahead, finish the story.
Makes sense.
Wayne off the hook. But anyway, I wanted to know about publishing.
Okay.
When you need to publish a book like this, and this is a beautiful copy. This is gonna look real good in my house. I'm gonna read it too.
Collection.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it too, for real. You wanna know why I'm gonna read it? Because it don't have that many pages.
Yeah, I wanted to make it an easy read.
I'm not gonna lie to you because I couldn't read a whole novel.
Yeah,
I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. I'd be lost in the sauce, doing that. So it's what is this called? Paperback.
Yeah, paperback.
It's this paperback. I haven't seen a book in so long. So I'm just kidding. Paperback is really good
Short
material.
chapters.
How do you get into how do you find a publisher and all that once you decide, hey, I want to write a book?
Right. So pretty much two options is you can try to find a publisher or you can self-publish. And with Amazon now, self-publishing is very popular and can be very lucrative. So essentially, Amazon kind of cuts out the middleman.
Yeah.
Before, publishers, they would connect you with the distributor. Now you can go directly to the distributor, the largest distributor in the world, Amazon, and do it yourself. So I self-published just because I just felt that was the best option for me, and it's you can have more control over the creativity and everything. So I decided to self-publish.
So Amazon just kicking everybody to the curb.
Yeah, like they cut out the middleman.
They killing everybody to the curb. But this is freaking dope, man. So you basically just send them the stuff that they need and they put it together and you good?
So pretty much, you'll upload the digital format of the book, and then the cover and all that type of stuff. Tell them the size, all that. And then after that, pretty much now when someone orders the book on Amazon, they print it on demand,
Right.
and ship it to them. I don't have to deal with none of that stuff. So, of course, they take their cut, but it's worth it because I don't like going to the post office every day mailing books. So I let Amazon handle that.
Boy.
And then that could be a lifelong string of passive income.
Yeah, a book is great, and I think this is an awesome book here. And I'm wondering when you're gonna do the military side of your story too.
I got that in mind, definitely.
So we got your brand new book.
Yep.
Got a brand new baby
Brand new
girl.
baby, come and celebrate my 4-year anniversary next month, September 6th.
Married.
Married.
What would you say if I gave you a percentage from 1 to 0? 0 to 100%.
Okay.
Would you say how much of a percentage would you give picking the right woman as it comes to your success?
Oh, it's major.
And where you going?
It's major. So I was pretty much single all of my 20s. I wasn't necessarily a player, but I was because of myself a ladies man. I wasn't a cheating on them, but I didn't have a girlfriend. I was dating.
Right.
I enjoyed dating. But when I met my wife, I was 30 years old, and pretty much it just completely, once I realized she was the one, it just completely changed my priorities and what I was focused on.
How you get to that point where you realize that was the one?
We dated about a year before I really realized, like, okay, this is the one.
Right. But okay, so you realized that at about that year mark. But like, how did you know before that? Like, what was it?
So before, I used to have like a list of things that'd be like deal breakers for me with women, and that kind of like my easy out. Like, okay, this is a deal breaker, so I know this ain't gonna last long. Then it got to the point where I couldn't find a deal breaker with her. Like, I'm looking for one. I couldn't find one. Like, man,
definitely a good thing.
And then what really sealed the deal, because I'm a daredevil, really adventurous. And for my 30th birthday, she surprised me, and we went skydiving because I had told her like 6 months prior that was on my bucket list.
Yeah.
And she was afraid of heights, but that was something that she was willing to do for me, just really face her fears and jump out of a plane with me. A black woman at that. Man, I was like, when we landed, I was like, oh yeah, this is
right.
Hold up, so you got a black woman to jump out of a plane, and she didn't mess her hair up, or she messed her hair up? The
hair was still on point afterwards.
Look at
we gonna need you to write a couple more books at this
still
point.
the deal.
Not only did you get a black woman to jump out of a plane, but she ain't mess her hair up.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But that's cool, man. That's cool. I think.
But it's, like I said, it's really important because even though I was successful, but my priorities were focused on really still chasing women, and all the things is not going to be a wealth, not going to be on my legacy. But once I met the right woman, I really got laser focused on, okay, I need to build this family. I need to really take this serious. Now I'm focused on positive things that's really propelling me.
Right.
And
yeah, that's something I think
really important.
A lot of men got to do, including my damn self. But yeah, a lot of men got to get into that, picking the right woman and becoming focused on what they got to do. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being all over the place. We know you're not retiring, though.
From thought.
We already know this guy right here. Leave it up to Wayne. Hey, look, Wayne, Kenny, tell him, man. Wayne, stay out here tripping, man. Okay, so turning adversity into your ticket when it comes to winning at this Powerball. Poverty Powerball, turning adversity into your winning ticket. Sorry about that. I messed that up a little bit, right? Okay, so we're now at 4. So we got power of faith, mental wellness, and paying it forward. Now, when we talk about power of faith, I think we all know that power. You're a Christian?
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
Okay. What church do you attend?
Shoreline City.
Shoreline City?
Yeah, it's in Garland.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so are you an advocate in the church as well as what you do as far as like, have you done any kind of ministry at all? I mean, because you're a public speaker by nature, so.
I haven't yet. I actually just got back involved like actively in church like a year ago. And so right now I'm serving on the usher board, but I'm looking forward to getting to their youth ministry. So I'm working on that now.
Cool. And when you say mental wellness, we talk a lot about men and their mental health. Why don't you elaborate a little bit on this chapter? Because I'm really interested in that.
Yeah, definitely with mental wellness, especially amongst African Americans, it has back to that negative stigma and where we believe that we have to just be so strong, and it's taboo to go see a counselor or think about being pegged as crazy or whatever. But like I said, I learned that lesson at a young age. At 11, my mother was committed to a mental hospital. She was schizophrenic.
Right.
So I saw that mental breakdown. I saw what not taking care of the mental wellness did to her. So I knew it was serious. I knew it was not a playing matter. And we all go through stresses and things with just life. It beat you down. And if you're not taking care of yourself mentally, if you don't have that outlet to talk about what's going on or seeing a professional or just like I said, just talking about like what we're doing now, that's to be a form of therapy for people.
Yeah.
Instead of just holding it in and thinking you gotta just take on all these burdens and not have that outlet or not have help. It's important.
So in your book, as you talking to that in this specific chapter of mental wellness, of course we want everybody to look out for our mental wellness, but my question would be, how do you recognize it, as well as how can someone else recognize that someone may need help in that situation? Have you tried, I'm sorry, have you ran into anything like that you talked about in your book?
Yeah, as far as how to recognize it, like especially like your family, friends, people you're around, they have a kind of like a baseline where okay, this is their norm. And then once they start doing things kind of abnormal and it's consistent, then it's something like, okay, you may want to check on them. They may be, hey, ask them, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Just make them feel comfortable to open up to you, hopefully. But you'll know that if you're around a person, whether it's outside of their normal behavior. And if you're starting to see a lot of things, it's starting to see a pattern outside their normal behavior, then that's the opportunity for you. Probably need to step in and try to figure out what's going on, talk to them. And if they're past that point where you can really help, then encourage them to seek professional help.
Right.
Some form of intervention. But it's really just being in tune and paying attention and seeing when they're going through something. Don't just turn a blind eye. Actually try to reach out.
Well, a lot of times as men, we getting to the point where we don't want people's help.
Right.
And
ego and macho. Yeah.
Well, not even ego and macho. It's just more like,
the judgment. Pretty much, and I can definitely relate where you're coming from. My mother's a paranoid schizophrenic as well. Like pretty much, like my siblings remember her when she was a normal functioning woman. The only woman I've known in my 38 years is the paranoid schizophrenic. So I completely get where you're coming from in that aspect. And I think, kind of echoing back to the whole mental health thing, is like we grow up in our culture where it's like if you need professional help, it's like you're showing weakness.
Right, exactly.
And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with showing weakness. We all are weak at times.
Right.
Like, we try so hard to be so strong because especially in our community, we get afraid of being judged. And it's like, you can't be afraid of being judged because at the end of the day, who are they to judge?
Right. Everybody's struggling with something. Everybody.
I need to write a country song right now. I done been through it all.
Well, we know, what's that? Old Town Road lead to Brokeback Mountain, so just don't write nothing like that.
Nah, I ain't writing nothing like that. I'm just saying, I done lost people. I done been freaking detained. I mean, in the last month and a half, Joe, it's been crazy. My dog died this morning.
Dog, man, that's rough.
You know what I'm saying? It's been crazy, Joe. Like, I woke up this morning, had to deal with that, man. And let me tell you something, man. I don't know what it is about daggone Texas, but it should not be this hard to get somebody to deal with a dead animal. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous what I had to go through today to get my dog taken care of.
Wow.
Trying to do it the right way. Excuse me for taking time out of the show to talk about that, but
I'm a dog lover.
anyway,
I feel your pain.
my daggone son texting me now. He locked up the damn house. You know what I'm saying?
One of them days.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? So, that's what caught my attention for a second. That took me off of it. Now you talk about paying it forward.
Right.
This is chapter 6 in the book, paying it forward. When you're okay, for me, I feel like karma is something that you pay forward. I feel like, good deeds is something you can pay forward.
Definitely.
I don't feel as though some other things are paying forward. Like, you can't just, okay, because I'm paying. Well, you actually are. You pay your electric bill, you're paying it forward.
No,
it's going to keep that on. You know what I'm saying?
Necessity, yeah.
What do you mean by that when you talk about it? I just want to know what your chapters are,
Right.
related to.
So with paying it forward talks more so kind of like being a mentor, things like that, where no one makes it alone.
Okay.
So if someone helped you, then it's your responsibility to reach back and help someone else. And I bring it back to the context in that chapter is my Uncle Tommy when he became my legal guardian. At that point, like I said, he's 52, his kids are gone.
Right, he didn't
have to do that. But
Right.
that changed my whole world. Then it came full circle. When I got out of the Army, I ended up becoming my little sister's legal guardian.
Right.
And she lived with me until she graduated high school. So it kind of came full circle. But when I had that opportunity to become her legal guardian because of her situation, it was like a no-brainer. Like, I know what Tommy did for me. I know how vital that was.
It was definitely.
If I had this opportunity to do that for someone else, so it just continued paying it forward, and now just like mentoring, anything like that, any opportunity you can have to help someone else, especially in the way that you've been helped, that's important.
What about your physical wellness? How about physical fitness? What kind of regimen you look like you stay in good shape. What kind of stuff you do?
I work out, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, eating better, and that ties into mental wellness as well, taking care of yourself physically.
So what kind of, you're not like a vegan or anything like that. What you cut out? You taking any vitamins, supplements?
I actually just recently started taking supplements, like a once-a-day man vitamin, and then I actually just recently cut out pork and deep-fried food and red meat out of my diet.
I eat all sorts of red meat, pork, deep fried stuff.
I'm a month in, so I'm holding on. But really, what inspired me to do that is over the past year, I've lost two close friends, and they both were pretty young. And most recently, it was we grew up like cousins, but he died from diabetes, 37.
Sorry,
it wasn't like obese, but it came out of nowhere. So just seeing him in that in ICU with diabetes, and we the same age, we have the same eating habits, stuff like that. I'm like, it kind of scared me straight.
Right.
And
okay.
I'm not a health nut.
You feel better?
I do feel better. I've lost 10 pounds in the past month
without
by cutting out all this stuff. Yeah.
So,
and like I said, I'm not a health nut. I'm not a vegan, all that. But
go ahead,
and no offense to vegans, but I'm not. I still do stuff that's unhealthy, but I've just made healthier decisions to start because I felt like I could eat whatever. So now I'm just more conscious about not having that invincible mentality.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's the craziest thing is that when you think that invincibility is just going to be there and you see someone close to you or close within age, die, it kind of shakes you up. Like I was never really a pork eater, but when I had my heart attack a year ago, I saw the way it affected my guys. It was a part that just scared them and just kind of scared them straight in a sense.
Yeah, that's the same effect it had on me. Like I said, a week prior, my cousin, he was just over my house for the baby shower. A week later, he laying in the ICU.
I just had a T-bone before I came here.
And the hardest thing last 2 weeks ago.
I'm not lying. A big joint too.
I'm a huge steak lover. 2 weeks ago, me and my wife went to Nick and Sam's. I had never been to Nick and Sam's before. And man, they brought out all that meat. Man, I'm like, I picked the wrong week.
Well, see, I
give up red meat.
I actually eat really well, but like I eat everything though. I love bacon. Gotta have that in my
I'm just
diet.
addicted to bacon.
I can't get bacon out of my diet. Now, I don't eat like pork chops well, I do eat pork chops, but I don't eat, a lot like porky stuff, like pig feet.
Porky.
Stuff, like, chitlins, pig ears.
Eating that swine, my brother.
But I don't eat it a lot. No, I had a T-bone today, for real. That joint was delicious. Yes, with potatoes and eggs, man. I'm trying to tell you something good. But anyway, it was really, really good. But that was the first red meat I probably had in other than the brisket though, but in a week and a half. Because usually I eat fish. Okay. I like fish.
I love salmon.
I like chicken. Oh, I love salmon. Yeah, they'll tell you I'm stay making some salmon or something like that. But chicken. So I eat pretty well.
Right.
So then, my regimen is more my push-ups and my pull-ups.
That'll do it. You don't need a gym membership. You really don't.
You don't need a whole lot. It's nice to have a gym membership.
Yeah, because sometimes I had that, to have that trainer or even just to have someone
be around people, others working out. Yeah, the inspiration.
But some people don't eat pork because of religion.
Yeah, mine was religious based, and then also it's moderation. So like if you're eating red meat every day, I was kind of eating red meat and chicken like alternating.
Yeah.
And that moderation, like say you're eating it once a week or
that's our diet.
It's different. Yeah,
that's our diet.
Right,
Meat
chicken,
loaf,
meat,
mashed potatoes.
So. Yeah, I think anything if you're not doing, if you're overdoing it, can be unhealthy. Like, too much fish can be unhealthy.
I think
too much anything can be unhealthy. So really, moderation is
actually
is
too much water.
Too much water can kill you. It really can.
Yeah, like you can actually get drunk from drinking too much water. It's called water intoxication.
Right, exactly.
And a lot of people don't know about that.
It is. You can die from that.
And see, he don't eat pork, so I knew that pork wasn't too. What I'm saying.
And another thing I like about it is I'm just big on. I like challenging myself with as far as being disciplined on things.
So do you fast?
I haven't really fast before.
Never tried it?
No, I haven't tried it.
Me neither. I just thought
I can do it if I wanted to, but I haven't had it hasn't appealed to me. I haven't fast.
I think I fast. I think I told Suge that when he was here, we was talking about it. I fast every day. I do because I finish eating. I probably eat at like 9, and then that's it. But I don't eat early. I can't. I'm one of those people that get up in the morning and I can't eat.
Okay.
I cannot eat. You could try to like shove food down my throat and be like, oh, that shit looks nasty.
Got the appetite.
I need like 2 hours, and then the hunger hit me. Then I gotta eat, or it's gonna be a problem. So I'm one of them type. Like
you're a purge eater.
Yeah. And I was kind of like that as well.
What is a purge eater?
A purge eater is a person that eats like you just described. You can eat something at 9 o'clock. Go the whole day, not be hungry, and then about 3 or 4 the next day, you like, man, where the food at?
Right.
3 or 4, I'm talking about 11. I'm talking about 11 a.m. somewhere around 10:30.
Because like you eating such wide spurts that your body starts, screaming food. So you just throw back a whole bunch of food, and then for that long period of time,
that holds you over.
It's holding you over. But then it's like,
so that's not fasting. I need to be hungry to fast.
I mean, like the traditional spiritual fast, like like the one like Suge does, where he
they gotta be hungry.
They can't eat nothing while the sun's up.
Right.
So you're talking about from like 5, 6 in the morning when sun rise to 8 o'clock at night when sun set. You're not running on anything but water, and if they could have that.
Wow.
Okay.
I haven't done one of those.
So we gotta get back to these chapters before we run out. So Defying the Odds, I think, is going to explain itself. But the School of Hard Knocks, I'd like to know where you were at with that. What is that about? In the ultimate sacrifice. What's that? The house always wins. What's this? Come on, give me a little.
The house always wins. I talk about drug use.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, and that one ties back into my Uncle Tommy again.
Right.
Where, like I said, up until I graduated high school, he was kind of like that stable figure for me, and he provided the stability. But he eventually, I guess he had been like a recreational drug user, and he was able to sustain it for so long and still maintain his job, keep a house, things like that. But eventually it took a toll, and the house always gonna win eventually, and he ended up losing his house and basically had to recover from all of that.
Right.
So really just letting people know, like, you can play around with drugs, but it's kind of like gambling.
Right.
It's only a matter of time. It's gonna take you out.
Right. Before it comes and gets at you. So, do you believe that poverty is more a mind state than a situation?
Absolutely. I think it's people who they can be wealthy but have a poverty mindset.
Right.
And that poverty mindset is where you feel like you're from a place of scarcity, where you're afraid, okay, it's not enough, or you just have these limiting beliefs. Right. So that has nothing to do with how much money you have. It's really that mindset.
Right.
Where, if you believe that, say Magic Johnson has a great quote where he talks about, he said, I was poor, but I never had poor dreams.
Right.
And that's just really that whole mindset. It don't matter what your physical circumstance is, but if you can dream bigger than that, you just, sky's the limit.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that financial independence is gonna it's really about the education. Like, because, I'll be on, like, I'm a couple years older than you, and I'm sure that, me coming up, we are the generation that was first with just like Oregon Trail.
Right.
Oregon Trail and good old Buck Rogers, and you know what I'm saying. See, I'm old like that. You hear me?
I remember.
So that kind of
duck hunt.
yeah. Oh, duck hunt. That's even. Yeah, I was getting older then. I could point the gun and everything. But the stuff that the things that we learned about finances are totally different than the things your generation learned about finances. And the generation that's coming up now are going to be leaps and bounds ahead of where we were.
Right.
And I think that is what's going to help us out of that poverty mind state as well, is just that the new generation that's coming out now, like my kids, your children, you know what I'm saying, they're going to have a better outlook on, how to save money, make money. That's one reason, and I don't even mean to bring it back up, but that's one reason why I support the dude, Andrew Yang. I'm telling you, there's one reason why, because he's the only candidate that's talking about something tangible that you can actually see, that you can actually have for all of you. Not just me, all of y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody get a
and maybe I'm crazy for believing that anybody can do it. But you want to know something? I'd rather take my bet on voting for somebody who's saying that they're going to give every person over the age of 18 $1,000 than somebody to say, we're going to redo schools. We're going to talk about healthcare reform. Because none of that, you'll never see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Hold on, what do you mean you'll never see it? You see it every time you go to the doctor.
No, you see it when you go to the doctor because you're unhealthy. I'm good. I don't go to the doctor. I run and fucking, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm just being honest. I want something everybody can see.
You see it every time you go to the doctor. You see it every time your kids go to the doctor.
Nah, bro, no. A lot of us have insurance and stuff like that. Everybody doesn't have need, you know what I'm saying? The universal basic insurance that's not UBI, but you know what I'm talking about, the Obamacare. A lot of people got insurance, health insurance, good. He got good health insurance. You in the military, you know what I'm saying?
Good, y'all got lifetime insurance.
So what's that gonna do for him?
Okay, it may not do anything for him, but Aquanetta and Oak Cliff, that Medicaid, that Medicare.
But I guarantee you $1,000 every month. Aquanetta be better with that. See, because now she can start building something with that. She could take that money and invest it in something.
But that's if you kill welfare, though.
I mean, so
welfare with 1,000.
Yeah, that's what the plan is. Yeah, why not? My fault. Anyway, we just get.
I was about to get into it. But that's okay.
Go ahead, Kenny. What you about to say? I know you about to say something.
Well, for me, honestly, we talked about this Andrew Yang thing. I think he's a great candidate. I think he's too soon. I think a lot of the old school candidates, something, it just hasn't evolved to that point yet. I think he's a great candidate. I don't mean to start talking politics. You can see us on Sunday at 1 p.m. However, you know what I'm saying? I think that he's a great thing. I think the whole idea of $1,000 for every U.S. citizen after 18, I think is great. You and I talk about that. How it's going to fill up a household. You got 5 people in the house. That's $5,000 extra a month towards that household.
It ain't even that. It's just that you can build. I think that'll help.
Well, the immediate thing is the individual. Right?
These people right here will be able to build generational wealth.
So everybody's talking about reparations for black folks. To me, that's a hell of a reparation. It's just it's gonna be shared with everybody. And
Yeah,
if you think
that's
about
everybody.
welfare goes away. Or you have the option of welfare with the $1,000.
Because I mean, my thing is, if you're giving everybody $1,000 a month, it's going to be hard to continue a welfare system.
But we're not
And
trying to continue.
I'm saying that. No, I'm saying you're not going to be able to do both.
No, they're
so
not.
UBI
They're not.
has to be
Well,
the
according to that
extermination.
plan, welfare, there's an option though. You can't get both.
Yeah, you can't get
It'll
both.
be accessible,
Yeah.
but you can't have both.
Yeah.
But it's going to build all kinds of economy, especially
Right.
the black community.
Right, it would build the economy tremendously.
Oh, yeah.
And why we the only country that you can live here and you get nothing for it for real? Well, other than we get protected by our servicemen, we get roads, we have signs. People do a lot here, to keep this country great the way it is. Don't get it twisted. I don't want to take away from that at all.
Right.
But I'm just saying, as an actual citizen of the country.
Yep.
You know
Patricia
what I'm
can't get it because she's not.
She's an immigrant.
She's German. So.
German.
Well, teachers are talking, y'all. You already know that. So, I always got to give Patricia a shout out on the show. Teachers are talking, y'all. Y'all make sure you walk. What day, Patricia?
Sundays.
Okay, Sunday. All right.
All right.
So, when it comes to your motivational speaking, how can people get at you to book you for their
So the best way is my website. So DerrichPhillips.com. That's with an H, DERRICH. Phillips 2 L's.com. Take you right to my website. All my booking information. Got some clips of me speaking, and also the programs that I offer. And really, my target demographic is at-risk teens. That's kind of like my niche focus.
what kind of programs you offer?
So just actually last month, that was in May, I went to a Job Corps in Kentucky. So spoke to about 200 kids there.
Okay.
That was a really cool experience.
Job
Corps is a great program.
Yeah, so that was a great program. Got to do a book signing there and everything. That was cool. But like speaking at high schools and just all them type of organizations is kind of like my preferred
You got one
audience.
coming up, right? Book signing coming
Yeah,
up.
I actually got a book signing coming up.
Trying to make it to that.
Got a book, and I'm actually doing one in Gary at the end of this month.
Oh, okay.
Libraries there are going to sponsor it, so that's going to be cool to go
So-
back where it all started.
So, what kind of speaking engagements do you get involved in? Usually, how do you get involved in your speaking engagements? Other than I know you get booking, but do you have a network of people that you deal with?
Yeah, so I'm involved in several organizations like Toastmasters and then National Speakers Association. That's for professional speakers. So they have a big club here in North Texas where that's a great network.
I'm
as far
trying
as
to get involved.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's a great organization.
I want to get involved.
Yeah,
so.
NSA and then Toastmasters is where I started because prior to Toastmasters I was afraid of public speaking.
Oh, yeah.
I was getting nervous and speaking in front of people. So
I
that
wonder
kinda
what they
helped
could
me.
do for me because I don't give a shit. I talk in front of anybody. It don't matter to
You
me.
good, yeah, but yeah, the National Speakers Association, they'll teach you the business behind it as
Oh,
far as
yeah.
getting booked and all that, what to charge, all that stuff, how to craft your message and all that.
So okay, I'm sure that something gave you the idea that, something, I should get into this motivational speaking and what actually prompted that? I mean, we talked at length about the book a little bit, and just you as a gentleman and a soldier, but what actually gave you the want to be
Kind of started with, I believe everyone has a story. So going back to a book, I think everybody has a book in them. It's just a matter of knowing how to get that book out of you and publish it. So for me, I know I had a story, and then as I would tell more people, and really I enjoyed inspiring people and empowering them. And I realized okay, because I used to be ashamed of my story. I used to try to hide all of that stuff that I talk about in this book, but I realized I went through that for a reason. And by me telling people how I got through it, it can help other people get through it. So that's kind of what brought the professional speaking into play, because that's the more people I can get to reach, I can send my message to.
That's cool,
It's
man.
more of a bigger platform.
And man, I have to say, I'm proud of you as a black man, my brother.
Man, I
You know what I'm
appreciate
saying?
it. I'm proud of you. Just
One thing I love about, the people I bring on this show and, the friends I have around me and stuff like that is that we constantly changing the narrative of who black men are.
Right.
That's what the ManCave is about. Make sure y'all follow the ManCave. Please subscribe to the platform. You can find us on YouTube each and every day at DA Space ManCave, ManCave, all one word, DA Space ManCave. Please follow and subscribe the platform.
Do that.
Yeah, we didn't do a lot of calls today. We should have put the number out. We should have put the live streaming out. I dropped the ball on that, but it's cool.
Still dope.
We
man.
back, man. Sorry about last week, guys. We missed the show. PK Williams coming back. Once again, Derrich Phillips, y'all go out and buy the book.
Amazon.
Poverty Powerball on Amazon, y'all. $2 discount for ManCave. Y'all take it easy.
All right.